But I wanted to talk about some of the political races coming up. The mainstream media is getting more and more discredited. In national polls, about 22% still trust the mainstream media. It's about 24% trust the government in any way. Depending on what poll you look at, it's right around that low 20s. And you see those numbers all the time, and you can look it up for yourself if you want to pull it up. But at the greatest time in modern U.S. history, at the greatest numbers, people do not trust the mainstream media and the government. And it's because people have learned their tricks. And they may not know all the subtle details, but they know overall they're being bamboozled, they're being scammed, that there's a tyrannical, oppressive, out-of-control, blood-sucking, parasitical agenda going on. But I've been hearing the last 6 months, oh, the GOP is going to get tied to the Tea Parties, and that's going to bring them down. The GOP is going to lose. The GOP is not going to win any seats because the Tea Parties are so radical. And I even see Karl Rove saying that. And I even see neocons on Fox putting out this talking point because the old line Republican Party is threatened by this. And they can't do what they did in '94 and put a person like Newt Gingrich, Mr. Global Carbon Taxes, Mr. New World Order in. They're not going to be able to get away with that. Boehner is not perfect, but he is certainly no Newt Gingrich, Mr. New World Order. So they're going after Boehner, saying he's an elitist because he plays golf when he came from a family of what? Was it 8 kids and it was a janitor putting his way through college? The issue here is that in almost every race, and I've got the spreadsheets, you can pull these up. I even heard Limbaugh talking about it Friday. The point is, Democrats who are anti-government-run health care, anti-Obama, they're the only ones still winning in the primaries. And establishment Democrats are losing in the primaries, like Specter and, you know, the laundry list out there. And it's the same thing for Republicans. Whether it's Delaware or Kentucky or Utah or Oklahoma or places like Colorado, it doesn't matter. The establishment is in deep trouble, and they know it. So the Republican leadership and Democratic leadership are teamed up right now in the rhetoric, and they're creating this self-fulfilling prophecy. Oh, the Tea Parties are evil. Oh, the Tea Parties can't win. And the New York Times came out Sunday and said the White House plans to target Tea Parties. And they're going to tie the Republicans to it and try to defeat them. The White House demanded they retract the article. They've now changed it because they know that's a losing strategy. So the good news here is we've never had a political realignment as big as it is right now since the beginning of this country. And there's no spinning it. There's no getting rid of it. There's no just making the Tea Parties Republicanoid, rhino. It's not going to work, okay? People know. People know world government's real. They know that the UN is corrupt. They know these wars are a fraud. They know Homeland Security is for the American people. They know. They know. There's no putting the genie back in the bottle. The globalists can do whatever they want. They're in deep trouble. They cannot reverse this, minus massive stage terror attacks. And we've been exposing that, and so we're taking that tool out of their arsenal. Okay, let's go to your phone calls. The toll-free number is 800-259-9231. Dave in Florida, you're on the air. Thanks for holding.
Hey, thanks, Alex. I got 2 things real quick. You couldn't have set me up better. There was a vaccination video that came out on today's show. It's called Vaccinations 101. And, of course, it got my attention because it was an Orwellian thing going with the Room 101. Okay? And there's a real witch out there, and they use neuro-linguistic programming and these things that's supposed to look like like people are actually calling into the show. They're not. They're all set up, contrived questions. And this particular video is so obvious that what they're doing is setting things up. And the more I looked at it, the more I was able to decrypt their hand signals and their words and their numbers.
No, they're a gang. It's all gang slide, gang sign. It's like Eastside Vato, down with it. But it's the globalist Skull and Bones gang sign.
Actually, yes, and she even makes reference, obviously with the title 101, but she puts her hands up to her face, one in the video, just like in the Room 101, in the movie where the 2 rats are in front of the face, and she's talking about when this person goes to college, how the germs will be in her face and she needs protection, and she puts up the peace sign with her left hand. That's a VA. That's a 6. That's like everything she is saying is garbage. And it's a signal to each other, and it's a signal that they're insiders, and I've decrypted the whole thing. And she even, and Al, there's even 666 things that they put in these things. And
No, Dave, I hear you. Listen, they had famous Democratic debates in '96 where they projected a devil and upside-down stars. I mean, all of this means something to these people. Let's go ahead and take another call. But you know, speaking of vaccines, here's KSL-TV out of Salt Lake City, Utah. And it says, last year's pandemic influenza made a lot of people sick, but many kids got really sick. New research released Sunday by the University of Utah shows H1N1 virus apparently triggered a high rate of neurological complications in children, including convulsions. Now, what did Britain have to admit? Suspending shots for under 5s, a 10-fold increase in convulsions and other neurological disorders. They're designed to do it. But they're just brazenly out on the air saying mercury is good for your children. They're brazenly out saying lead in Chinese toys is good. Melamine isn't bad for children, even though it makes their kidneys fail. You know, we're taking the dead troops' insurance money. It's good. Chlorex's it's good for you. Asbestos is good for you. They're just throwing it all in your face. Lisa in New York, you're on the air.
Hi, Alex. I've been investing in silver for a while, but it isn't sort of the silver coinage. It's the sort of thing that your grandmother would hand down to you, like silver cutlery and candlesticks.
Yep.
Is that something that's okay to continue, or is it only...
Oh, I mean, it's only quadrupled in value in the last 8 years. I mean, it was on average calculated into the cost about $5 an ounce. Then they would add the craftsmanship cost and, was it a collector's item? And so that would increase the value depending on the piece. But sure, your silver cutlery is valued roughly 4 times what it was 8 years ago. So, I mean, was that a good investment for you? Of course it was.
I hope so. If things get really, really hard, would it be something that would be easy to get rid of?
Well, here's the problem. It's not as good as silver coins because those are a mode of exchange. There's a bigger market for them. And because we're in a depressed economy, you might not get 4 times what you originally bought for it if it was 8 years ago or before, just because people don't have the money to buy it. But you're probably going to get a lot more than what you originally paid. So, yes, I mean, real, tangible. I mean, what do governments have? What do elites have? When they were chasing down the Nazis, what they have? Diamonds, gold, silver, art, expensive silver and gold cutlery. That's called booty, valuables. And that's what's really got value. That's what the globalists obsess on because it's real.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Mr. Jones.
Thank you. I appreciate your call. Yes, excellent investment if you did it 8 years ago. Let's go ahead and talk to Hunt. Who's up next? Okay, Alex in California.
Hi, Alex.
Hey, buddy.
Thanks for taking my call. I'm a first-time caller, long-time listener, and I wanted to talk a little bit about the airport body scanners. I want to remind people that they have an option. They have a choice. They have to say, I opt out, because you are not required by law to submit to the body scanners at the airport, and apparently the TSA workers are trained to give you a pat down if you just say, I opt out.
So they were trying to force you to take the naked body scan?
Yeah, and they'll pressure you to
well, let me stop you. They admit it gives 20 to 50 times the radiation of what they previously said. They admit they're storing the naked images, and they lied. And 4 months ago in the Chicago Tribune, the head of the TSA said, we do plan to make this mandatory. And the first place they admitted it was 2 months ago in El Paso, Texas. Everyone is forced through El Paso Times. You must say no. So they tried to force you through the naked body scanner at what airport?
Well, I haven't. It's actually basically in Chicago, O'Hare. But you have to say, all you got to say is, I opt out. And apparently this is a word that they've been instructed to just go ahead and give you the pat down, and they won't, bother you and force you to go through the body scanner.
But was I misunderstanding, as I got from what you were saying, your phone's a bit muffled, that they tried to still talk you into it like, we don't have somebody trained for a pat down to go through this?
Actually, I didn't misunderstood me, if you are about to go through in the security line and you say I opt out, they will be forced to give you a pat down instead of making you go through the body.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. But they're trying to phase that out. So more of us need to say no. And they're under such pressure over these that now they're claiming they're going to add a computer program to it that puts a cartoon image over you so they don't see your naked body, but that's a lie as well. They are saving the images. And they're going in mobile vans. I mean, think about the magnitude of this. Forbes admits 500 vans were purchased. We're now confirming they're roving all over the country. They drive by, they stop at each house, and look right through your walls, not just violating your Fourth Amendment, but bathing you in super high-powered radiation. I mean, can you believe that? I mean, this is beyond 1984.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. I just want to remind people, just say, I opt out. And we will overwhelm the system.
God bless you. God bless you, Alex. Well said. The spirit of resistance is victory. Woody, Nathan, Calvin, and many others. And then a big news blitz coming up. The websites are prisonplanet.tv, Infowars.com, and prisonplanet.com. Stay with us. Woody in Seattle, welcome.
Hey, Alex.
Hey, buddy.
Thanks for taking my call. I want to tell you, my awakening happened about 2 years ago when I started listening to your show, and I started doing my own research, and I found a lot of what you had to say to be the gospel. And I want to thank you for your courage. The reason I'm calling is you were talking this morning about the scientific dictatorship that we're living in today. I studied President Eisenhower and his farewell address to the nation. Most people just remember the quote about the military-industrial complex. But he also talks about a scientific technological elite that was merging with that to create public policy and to take over the university.
Well, yeah, no, that was an exact quote you just gave. And that quote's actually in our eugenics film that we're working on, yes.
Yeah, so I really believe that the Kennedy assassination was the linchpin for the loss of our country with regards to our political system.
I agree with you.
That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Well said, Woody. Let's go ahead and talk to Nathan in Pennsylvania.
Hey, Alex, how you doing? This is great. I'm a first-time caller. I'm really great. Have great appreciation for you taking the time out to take my call.
Are you bet? I mean, I love being here talking to people that love freedom. Go ahead.
The other caller mentioned about opting out of those body scanners. I thought to myself, why not just write a letter to those in control and say, can I opt out of your system? That's what I'd really like to do.
Well, that's why we have to expose that the terrorism is staged in almost every case. They're doing this to set up the control system for us, and that's now admitted. Homeland Security is for the American people, period. It was never for CIA-funded cave dwellers.
Yeah, and I was watching the Obama thing today, his speech, and it's this whole illusion of trying to reach out to the common man and pretend that they have a connection, when in reality all they've done is they've taken these things that mean something to us. I always tell people it's like you got a knife in your kitchen drawer. Well, yeah, it's great for working in the kitchen, but as soon as you turn around and stick that in somebody's face, it becomes a weapon. And basically, the whole system's been designed that way. Whether you look at the materialism, commercialism, you got the religion, with the 501c3s, the politics, everybody's just basically in this big dragnet getting sucked under.
Getting sucked under. I appreciate your call. Really good points, Nathan. And that's what it comes down to, is that there's counterfeits of everything good. And that's how the system controls things. And they are predatory. They are ruthless. It's stated.